Usually it says something. Oh, there we go. It says we're going. Yeah, we're on.
Are we?
Yeah, we're totally on. It's cool. I can actually see on my computer. I brought my laptop because I wanted to bring it so I could see the things. I wonder if that's the problem. I wonder if not a problem, but I wonder if my laptop's somehow linked in.
Oh, it could be.
No, we're going. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah, it's all good.
Pivot is 1 minute.
1 minute?
Well, 1 minute?
1 minute.
I think I already peed.
Look at...
I just got home, like, oh man, this is like a big pickle.
You got a giant pickle? Oh, you do have a giant pickle. Look at that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Gretchen...
Can you hear me chewing it?
Yeah, I hear you chewing the pickle. I hate pickles, man. I legit tried one not that long ago, and it was, not for me.
Really?
Gretchen loves pickles, though. My wife loves pickles.
I bet. Mine do, too. Well, anyway.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah, we got, what do we got to talk about today? We got to talk about your race. And then we'll talk about the Techno series. There's one new product I want to talk about, the new Losi truck. And you know anything about that at all?
It's a monster truck?
Yeah. It's big.
That one?
It's a big monster truck. Like, it's bigger than a normal AX-10 or SMT-10 even. Yeah, it's interesting.
Is it the size of a clodbuster?
No, it's bigger. It's way bigger.
Oh.
We'll talk about it once we get going, but I was surprised by how big it was. I didn't think it was going to be that big. And then they put a side-by-side comparison with the axial truck, and it's quite a bit larger. So,
Released new servos.
Yep, I saw that. I saw that too.
Mm-hmm.
My wife just texted me. Man, I tried calling her because we wanted to talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas plans, and I could barely hear her, and then she like hung up on me, and this is when I got back in a text. What? Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I was in the middle of making meatballs, had meat all over my fingers.
I love meatballs.
God, I love meatballs too. Tonight we're supposed to have meatballs and on top of mashed potatoes.
Oh, huh. That's different.
But I'm gonna tell her that we'll talk later.
Talk later. Will's eating pickles.
Yeah, talk later. Will's eating pickles, and we're live on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
So I brought my laptop with me today so I could see a little bit better with the live stream thing. Got some guys that are on right now. What do we got? Joel Florkey says, "What's up?" Dynasty's on here. Ask what's good with it. Already getting some questions, which is cool.
Really?
Yep. And I'm gonna get to we'll get to these at the end. Unless, here's the new deal for our HobbyPlex Show podcast.
Yeah.
So I've turned on Super Chat on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to interrupt the show at any point, you can buy a question. But if you want to wait till the end, just put them on here and we'll try to get to them all at the end. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the new that's the new policy. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
I was just admiring my two-wheel. I just like looking at it.
Yeah?
I love this car right now.
Yeah. I like RC racing in general right now. Put it that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hey, this is Alex Sturgeon, as always with the Hobbytown HobbyPlex show podcast, and with me, as usual, is
Will Brinton.
the bearded one. Are you growing your beard back to the length that it was?
I don't know.
Okay.
This kind of is. My wife told me a month ago I needed a haircut.
Oh,
And I haven't gotten one yet.
dude,
so.
I need a haircut. I saw a picture. I was perusing my Facebook pictures for some reason today, and I saw a picture of you with this just enormously long beard. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it got pretty rugged there. I could have been selling paper towels, man. That thing was so long.
Oh my God, dude, we got our first super chat. We got $1 from Jason Haley.
Okay, Jason, what you got, dude?
I don't think he's got anything. He just gave us $1. Oh, there we go.
Really?
Okay. This one's for Will. New servos. Gonna pick one up. Is the new low profile the way to go for stock 2-wheel drive?
I would think so. It's a high torque servo similar to the one we have now. It's just all aluminum, like heat sunk case. I think it's a little smaller, but yeah, I'm gonna get one. Even though I run mod, I'm gonna run one.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like for stock or for mod, and it's a high torque servo. It's similar to the high torque one we've been running, and I heard that we might be releasing. Aridi might be coming out with a high speed version, but really for both 2-wheel and 4-wheel, we're all running the high torque.
Yeah,
servos.
I use a torque servo in my cars, all my cars.
Yeah,
They're fast
And
enough
a
now,
lot of it-
anyways.
yeah, they're like a high speed servo is like double the speed of what a high speed servo
Yeah.
used to be.
Big time.
But so like for the torque, like, you know, you're not sawing on the wheel and need all that speed, you know, for what we're doing. And it's still fast enough. I think it's like 0.6, if I remember right, 0.7. And that's that's right where I feel like it's predictable. But what you want is that power. Like you're going full throttle, like down the straightaway and turning. Well, that has like a lot of tension on your front wheels. And you want a servo that has torque to turn through that. And it's not like delayed because you have a high speed servo. It's like working double time trying to turn your car.
Yep.
You know, so it's definitely like from high speed to low speed steering, you're gonna feel a lot similar feeling with a higher torque servo than you would lower or higher speed. But
So
anyway.
so there you go. We got our first sponsored question in. Speaking of
It's
sponsored,
50 cents a piece.
speaking of
I
sponsored,
want that 50 cents.
did you like that lead-in? This show is always brought to you, of course, by Pivot Lending Group, and you can find them at pivotlending.com. And if you mention our show, make sure you find Don Zoller, or if you have to, ask for Aiden Olson's dad. But that guy jet sets all over the place, so he's never in one place here in Blair, Nebraska. But if you can get a hold of him, you know, it'd be a funny thing to say. Are you Aiden Olson's dad? Like, I just think that'd be funny.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious.
But if you do mention our show, and if you get a home loan or a refinance, you can get $500 lender credit or 0.125 off of your closing rate, which is pretty awesome. So,
Yeah, if I was in the refinance lending market, I'd be going for that 1.25%.
yeah, I'm thinking it'll be a little while before Gretchen and I even look at a new home anymore. Emerson's got to graduate college first, so we got a couple years yet.
What's he want to go to school for?
He wants to be actually he's probably going to go learn how to weld. That's what he said.
He wants to be a welder?
Yeah.
Dude, he should totally do machine tool.
Yeah. The machining,
Yeah,
welding, you know, that's seems like that's what he wants to do.
Does he know that's what I do?
Probably not. Should tell him.
Yeah.
I'll give him his phone.
Yeah.
I'll give him your phone number and you can text him.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, that's what he said so far. I don't know. I mean, he's 14, so he's got a long ways to figure it out. I say long ways,
Well,
but I mean, I'm 40. I'll be 42 in 3 weeks, and I don't know where 42 years went. It goes by so fast. 6 years is nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope to God that he moves out though at some point. Like I don't want him to be one of those kids that stays in the basement.
Yeah.
Until he's like 30. He's got to get out there and do stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Mom, meatloaf.
Yeah, Mom, meatloaf. Where's my meatloaf?
Mom, bathroom.
Oh, poopkins.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Oh. That was a great episode.
Yeah, that was like the World of Warcraft one.
Yeah, I missed the weekly South Park.
Also, you just Hot Pockets.
Mom, Hot Pocket. So, before we get into either of our races, I did want to talk about this new Losi truck real fast. So, not too many new products coming out this week, but the big one that did drop was Johnny's on here. I live upstairs with my parents. I'm 42 years old. I'm sorry. I wasn't making fun of you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I moved out of my house when I was 19. It was time to go. I
bought the house I grew up in.
Yeah, that's true. My sister looked at our house that we grew up in.
Yeah.
But I think they wanted too much money for it, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, anyways, the new Losi truck. So, the new Losi truck, the monster truck. So it's not TLR, it's Losi. So, I think most of the ready to run stuff and like the basher stuff from Horizon Hobby that wants to use the Losi name is under Losi, and then the racer stuff is TLR. So, yeah, this truck's really cool. When it first came out, they really didn't release too many pictures of it. It was just they only had 3 pictures, but the pictures I saw was a whole bunch, a new chat. It's completely new. It's not like at first I thought, oh great, they're just going to redo the SMT10 but put it under the Losi name, and that's not what this is. This is bigger, right? So it's bigger in length and fast. In fact, I think I can go in here and I can find it. But it's bigger in length, it's bigger in width, and it has a cush drive. Do you remember that?
No.
So,
is that like hydrodrive?
Yeah, kind of. So, not really. I'm trying to think what else had a cush drive. There was another vehicle that had it, but it's like almost like a slip differential in the center of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And let me see if it'll let me in here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So they're going to release it as a roller or as a Gravedigger or Son of a Digger monster truck. So they got the licensing of Gravedigger and Son of a Digger. It's got a hinge body on it, so it comes, looks like it comes all the way back. And again, they're not giving you too many pictures on here. That's what I really wanted to see. But solid axle, and the chassis has all these different mounting points for the shocks. And completely new axles. They're nothing like I've ever seen before. It's got a wheelie bar. It's got these new tires that I think are going to be Proline. I think they're called Devastators.
Monster Jams?
Oh. Yeah. They're, but pretty sure they're called Devastators is what the new, because the original ones were called Destroyers.
The complete and utter devastation.
Yeah. So this is what it says: fully licensed, twin vertical aluminum chassis, Spectrum Smart Electronics, Spectrum waterproof metal geared servo, preset motor spacing. So that's one thing that I saw floating around Instagram was how they're basically playing it as so you don't have to worry about setting your gear mesh. It's got a preset gear mesh, so it's good all the time, right?
Okay.
And that's one thing.
Like a Tamiya car?
Yeah, and like Arma cars too. The original Arma cars had that. So they had a preset 14, 15, 17, like 28 tooth pinion gear set, so that you didn't have to worry about gear mesh. Multi-piece axle housing, center diff with cush drive, 1/8 scale adjustable diff, so the front rear have oil-filled differentials. Short course style wheel with replaceable center hub, with a scale monster truck tire, adjustable servo saver, and it's going to come with a DX3.
How much is it?
It is mapped at $599. So it's $200 more than the Axial. But it's also bigger.
But it's like, yeah, it's ready to go.
Yeah, it's also bigger though. I mean, I was when I saw the size of the box in a couple of pictures, I was like, holy crap, that really is a whole lot bigger. And I mean, this thing.
How much is the X-Max?
X-Max is the $899.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the size of an X-Max?
No, it's smaller than that.
Oh.
This is if you had to put it size-wise, like side by side with something, think of it as like probably the length of a Creighton.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit, but wheelbase-wise, maybe a little bit shorter because it's more of a scale monster truck and not like an 8-scale truggy like a Creighton.
Right.
So, the one thing that I'm concerned with the size difference from an SMT10 is does it meet what we've been doing with our monster truck racing?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Right.
Like, is it a turnkey truck you could go race, or is it just?
I think so. Because it is larger than an SMT10, but some of the chassis and stuff that are out there that you see at what Jason Rona's been doing, those events and stuff. If you put them side by side with an SMT10, they are bigger. I mean, they are a little bit longer, maybe not wider because the axles are basically the same, but it is a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'll be curious to see if it's. I need to see one in person to really go, okay, that's something that's going to be great at these monster truck events. Hopefully, it's not too large where it basically boxes itself out. You know?
Right. Well, maybe it wasn't really meant for that. You know?
Well,
maybe it's just meant to be a cool monster truck.
I would say that, but if you look at the chassis, it looks like a chassis that you would buy aftermarket for your SMT10 with all the different mounting positions and everything. It's got sway bars.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Yeah. It's 10 pounds. It's 22 inches long and almost 16 inches wide.
Is it brushless?
You know,
or something like that. Do you want it to be brushless? Maybe brushed motor.
Yeah, it has to be brushless because it's using the smart electronics.
What's smart electronics?
Well, that's the Spectrum line of speed controller and motor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all in one?
No, it's a speed controller and motor separate. It's not. That would be cool if it was all those all in one thing.
Remember when Orion made those?
Yeah. Well, and then the Mini T Dynamite systems, the motor, the speed controllers and the motor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So. But yeah, no, it looks like it's definitely brushless. Again, the pictures that are on FastServe, which is Horizon's ordering site, don't really let you get too many close up pictures of it. But again, they do make it as a roller too, which is going to be really cool because then you can put your own stuff in there. So that's cool. It's got a cage and everything. It's gonna be neat. So that was kind of the big news that I thought came from when we talked last week. And then you said the servos, right? Those reedy servos.
Yeah, the reedy servos. Yep.
So that's pretty cool. We got a follow-up question real fast. Johnny S. wanted to know which is a better ProTech, a 160 SS or a 160T for two-wheel. And I mean, when you were talking there, I said, well, I always use a torque servo. I use that 160T in almost everything. That's 10. That's 10 scale truck, buggy, 4-wheel drive.
Right.
I have a 170 BL in my mini truggy though. That thing's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's rad. So there you go. That was what's new, and not a whole lot, but we'll see what happens this week. It's kind of that weird zone where we're in November, and you would think that all bunch of cool stuff would want to get released or at least announced by Black Friday for the Christmas stuff.
Right.
But with COVID going on still, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see a whole bunch of new stuff. I'm surprised we haven't seen anything crazy new from like Traxxas. I haven't really seen anything, that blows my mind from Traxxas, other than their pre-built like transmission and diff parts now. Did you see those? Did we talk about those last week?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we got them in at the store. They're gonna be. I'm gonna do a do a what's new video on Wednesday, and I'll have them in there.
Are they like a better transmission, or they're just pre-built?
They're just they're pro-built.
Huh.
Pro-built. So
yeah,
we got.
It would have been neat if they had like better stuff in them somehow.
Yeah, but I most everybody just wants them. They don't want to do the work. They just want to drop them in.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. Oh, we just got a Techno slacking too. Well, I got news on Techno from this weekend, but we'll wait for the Winter Series talk coming up. So, Why don't you go first? So, go ahead. Where did you go?
I went to Fastlane, Hobbies and Raceway in Blue Springs, Missouri, and I raced the invite portion of the J Concepts indoor shootout and invitational there, and I had a great time. I was doing really good in two-wheel. At least I think so.
Yeah, you left in 5th place, right?
Yeah, I was 1 point behind Tom, and Aiden was actually first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
Aiden was first after Saturday.
So tell us about, that race has been going, is that 10 years now? Has it been that long?
Yeah. I've been invited for at least the last 4 years, I believe. This is the first year I've gone.
Yeah, I get invited too. I can never go.
Yeah. You should try to go next year.
I will. Okay, hold on. Jason Haley just gave us another $1.
Really?
Yeah. He wants to know if he upgrades his DX3 Pro to an M17, will he see a true difference? Remember, I'm having fun with the hobby. I can answer that one. Hell yes, you'll feel a difference.
Yeah.
Especially from a DX3R Pro.
Yeah. I still feel like I can feel the latency in Spectrum electronics, like for racing.
That's like going from a... Well, I don't want to hit...
It's like going...
I don't want to hit him too hard, but that's like going from like a Super Nintendo to a PlayStation 4. Like...
Yeah. It would be. Yeah.
Especially the DX3. If you said DX5R Pro, I'd be like, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. But a DX3, I mean, that radio's almost 10 years old now too.
Yeah, I used the M17. I really like that radio.
Yeah.
Other than just being lighter, it really isn't a lot different from the M12S.
Yeah.
But and I don't know, the new one has a touchscreen and a built-in battery. You just plug it in and charge it. It's pretty sweet.
It's pretty badass. All right, so
I like it.
All right, so keep going.
Oh, so yeah, I raced that race. Two-wheel went really well, I think, and then four-wheel, I just had a hard time getting through people, and it was kind of like Saturday was like the play nice day, and then Sunday the gloves are off. You know. My two-wheel, though, I actually didn't change anything on it the entire time.
Nice.
I was there. I just ran what I normally run.
Good job.
I tried a couple of different things, and I didn't like it. I just put it back.
What tires were you guys running?
The handout tire was J Concepts Ellipses front and rear for both 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and they were in silver compound.
Silvers.
And mine on 2-wheel drive, I was actually really like my last 3 rounds were on slicks. Like they were just completely worn out, and actually that's where they were the best.
Yeah.
So my tires went to slicks before everybody else's did, because I like practiced a lot because I was like having fun driving my car.
Yeah.
Like there was no strategy. I was just having a good time driving my car, so I just kept practicing. And my tires were bald in the middle before everybody else, and I left them down there. I just threw them away. I didn't think to keep them, but like my outside tire, like on the right rear or on the left rear, like the outside of the sweeper, that tire, the only tread on it was probably the logo on the side of the tire. Like the thing was completely bald, but it was like, cause they were blowing the track off every heat or every one of our races for invite. And it's a good thing they were, because if they didn't, it would have been like really hard to drive. Yeah. I got out of the groove like one time. My car like did 2 loops like all the way around.
How high did you finish in your heats? Like, did you come close to winning any of them, or were you just kind of up there?
I came close to winning one. I finished second in 4 of the 5 heats, and my drop was a 4. So I finished 2-wheel drive with all second places.
Where did you pit at? Did you pit in the main building, or were you in the other one?
We were in the back room, and Kyle and I were in the way back, away from everybody.
Nice.
Yeah. It was pretty nice. We didn't have a lot of foot traffic or nothing. And actually, I kind of wish every race was like limited entries, because it was actually nice to get out of there early on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Saturday night didn't drag out till like 2 a.m. And it was actually great. I thought it was I had a great time.
How many were actually in the invite?
18.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So there's 3 heats of 6.
Oh, well, that's good. That's a reasonable race size too. It's kind of like our carpet. Like anywhere from 6 to 8 on a smaller tracks, at least fun. 10's a lot.
Yeah.
Who won? Because I haven't seen anything about who won that race.
Tom won. Alex got second. Aiden got third.
Not that I don't want Tom to win, but I was thinking maybe somebody else like Aiden or somebody could have. But yeah, that's a good job for Aiden Olson then.
Yeah, he could have won. There's some races that if he would have, I told him, like, if you were more patient with the traffic, like, you would have won that race. Like,
yeah.
And that ultimately, like, once he figures out that patience stuff with trying to get through traffic, he'll be pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
I saw a video where Tom launched it on like the last turn. Was that for position, and did he make it over the loop in front of, it looked like Alex?
Yeah, it was like 0.009. I was actually marshalling that corner.
Dude,
I was standing right there in that video.
So was that Alex in front of him?
Yeah, it was Alex in front of him. I honestly couldn't tell who won.
And Tom went over the top and got the loop?
Yep.
That would be... If I was Alex, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, why didn't I just do that? Because then it wouldn't have mattered. Ugh. So kind of usual.
I couldn't tell who got it.
It was sort of your usual suspects then, if you really think about it. Like we called it last week. We were like, well, Alex is there and Tom's there, so they're going to be 1 and 2. And it just mattered who was going to get third.
Yeah.
At least it was somebody from Omaha.
Yeah.
From the Plex getting third in that one. That was pretty cool. Where did you? So you ended up 10th overall.
Yeah.
Well, still.
I kind of sucked it up in 4-wheel.
Yeah.
Legitimately, that was like the first time I'd really driven my 4-wheel. Because like on Fridays, the track doesn't really have enough grip to do a whole lot of testing.
Right.
Or like trying stuff or, trying to get used to a car. And I don't know. I made a few changes on it, and I liked them, but on slicks, my car was just so edgy. I felt like my car was like the edgiest one out there. So I don't know what I really should have done. If I should have done something with shocks, probably. I kept lowering my car, and I laid my shocks down, and it made it better, but it was still just really twitchy.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just me, like, not being able to drive stuff like that anymore. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. It's also a much smaller track than we're used to as well.
Yeah.
So, was that the first time you've been there since we went there?
No, I'd gone there a couple other times. Okay. There was some Saturdays where it was like a winter series or something, and Kyle and I went down there.
Okay. And who was running the race?
I don't know. It wasn't Mike Garrison.
It wasn't Mike?
He was in the hospital having spinal surgery, I guess.
Oh. Yeah, he posted something a little while ago. I didn't catch it. Well, anything else you want to say about that race?
No, not really. Everybody was pretty good about wearing masks and stuff. I kind of just stayed in my pit just so I didn't have to worry about it.
And they have a mask mandate down there, right?
Yeah, there was a police officer coming in every once in a while.
Really?
Check in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Huh. Nuts.
Yeah, and all the kids that weren't wearing masks, they were like, "Oh, cops here," and they like hiding their face so they didn't get a ticket or something. I don't know if he'd actually given you a ticket because obviously, I'm sure he saw people in there not wearing one.
Yeah. Weird.
Because I took mine off on the driver's stand, but they had the plexiglass in between every spot.
Yeah.
On the driver's stand, and that was actually pretty cool. Like as far as like a race goes, a track that small, they did pretty much everything that they could to keep everybody comfortable. You know, like there was a real effort there. Like they had dividers up between every single pit, and only the one side of each row was being used. And and then the driver's stand having the plexiglass in between each person. And so, I'd take my mask off when I drove so my glasses didn't fog up.
Yeah.
I'd put it back on after I was done. I just put it underneath my hat. Like, I just put it underneath my hat and put my hat back on.
I kept mine in my pocket just when I'm in the booth, I don't have it on. And then when I'm walking around, posting results or going back to my pit, then I'd put it on real quick and, so doing what I can. Yeah. I mean, I'm not exactly, super worried about it. At the same time, I'm still trying to, be a good example, I guess. So.
Sure.
Real quick, we'll get into the Techno series next. AKA Scribbles are smaller and lighter than J Concepts. Stock racing. What are your thoughts? This could go to either of us.
Wait, what's the question?
It says stock AKA Scribbles are smaller and lighter than J Concepts. What are your thoughts? Is that a big deal? Would you trade
like for stock racing?
Yeah. Does the weight of the tire really matter? Other than, I would think whether or not they work is more important than the weight.
Yeah, I'd rather have the right compound and the right weight.
Yeah. I think the weight of the tires doesn't really matter as much as whether or not they actually have grip. Now, that's not saying AKA Scribbles don't have grip. Tebow and Jared Wiggins had them this weekend on their 8 scales, which are a lot heavier of a car, and they seem to like them. I do know that a couple guys that have used them on our track on the dirt have found them to be kind of like how when we were running AKA stuff for a little while, there's like a sweet spot to them. They'll break in because they're lower. They'll break in, but then they'll be good for that 1 or 2 run. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. They're a cool looking tire though. It's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
The 8-scale stuff looked great.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's where we're at. So this weekend at the HobbyPlex, we had the Techno Series. We got a bomb dropped on us last Monday. New health measures came out that are good till November 30th, which means that we were back to 25% capacity like we were way back in May and June. So we could only allow 75 people / households, and we had to do online sign up. I was worried that there's always going to be maybe 1 or 2 guys showing up Saturday that didn't get the memo. So I went around and put marked pit spots, just like I did for the summer series, every single pit spot. So we had all 75 people / households marked, and sure enough, like 2 people showed up that didn't get the memo, and I was like, oof, like, yeah, we don't got any room right now. We got to wait till tomorrow to see if anybody doesn't show up. Luckily, there was 1 or 2 people that didn't show up, and a couple of them let me know that night, so I was able to let these guys, pit inside. We did have 1 guy pit outside in his trailer. I was fine with that. It doesn't go against the rules, so so that was fine. If you looked at the pictures and everything, the pits look full, but if you really look at it, like, everybody was spaced out okay,
Yeah.
We put hand sanitizer on every single row of pits, and we put free masks out there for everybody. Said take one if you need one. And I'd say it was kind of like when I went to South Carolina. There really wasn't too many racers that seemed hell bent on wearing masks all the time,
Yeah.
But we're outside of city limits, so we don't have to,
Yeah.
But
right.
The employees of the Plex do. So I had mine with me. Like I said, the only time I was taking it off was when I'm in the booth, or if I'm sitting in my pit. I wasn't that worried about it because nobody was really that close to me, out of 6 feet or whatever. So that all ended up okay. I mean, I was stressing out about it at first, and then once we got rolling, it's just like last year. So last year's Techno Series Finals was the week of when all the crap started to come down, and they are starting to talk about shutdowns and all this other stuff. And we made the last round of the Techno Series like that. The Monday afterwards, they had all those health measures that shut everything down in Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Limited it, gatherings to 10 people and all that other stuff. So we just made it, and I was all stressing out about it, that people weren't going to show up or anything. We ended up with like 180 entries. So in the end, if you did the people count, I think it was 83 total people, which makes sense if you got, a couple bringing their son or whatever that's racing with them. And we ended up with like 150 something entries. So it was fine, and still good turnout. The track did what it does with Nitro. And another cool thing that happened this week at the Plex was, so when the Plex was built, when the idea for it came about way back in 2009, I was like, well, we can't lose the feel of outside summer racing even though we're indoors. Now that's changed over time because we want our track to be consistent. So most of the doors are shut for what we do in the summertime, right? If we opened up the doors during the summer series, the track would be constantly changing, and we'd probably end up on like double Ds at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, and who knows what compound. But back then, nitro racing was still very popular here in Omaha, and I didn't want that to change. So we put in 16 garage doors all the way around the HobbyPlex that we could open up. And for the first couple of years, though, there were some summers where I never even closed them. Remember that?
What, for the summer series?
No, at all. Like, there was some days, I that first year, that 2012, there was some weeks where I remember it was so hot outside. I was like, I'm not going to shut the doors. I'm just going to leave them open. And I look back on that now and I'm like, whoa, like I'd never be able to get away with that now. But, the track would be dust. So, well, lo and behold, what happens when you shut the doors and you water a lot and it gets real humid in there? Well, the springs rust, right? And there was so it's 2011, so 2021 will be 10 years. Well, we had like 12 garage doors where the springs totally busted and you couldn't open the garage doors anymore without being a big, fat, muscular man, Mr. Hat.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a bunch of them fixed. So they just happened to come out that Thursday and Friday afternoon, and they fixed all the doors along the driver's stand. So there's 4 total doors on that side. And then I had them fix 2 doors on the west side. And then I had them fix one of the main doors on the north side of the track. And for some reason, the 3 garage doors on the east side of the track are still good. So, and I've been spraying them with this PB Blaster garage door lubricant thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is we got our garage doors back, and this weekend it really showed. I mean, we were able to. The place didn't. It was windy, which is nice. I'm always hoping that it's going to be windy because it really clears out the air. But boy, it was nice having those doors open again.
Yeah.
When you need them, But that being said, for the 8-scale racing, the track does dry out rather quickly. And it can break up a little bit and flake. So what happens is it flakes. It gets these big chunks that get kicked up if a car hits it the right way. And so like the end of our straightaway has that. A few spots I'm going to have to fix tomorrow. Some of the landings off some of the jumps are just annihilated.
Yeah.
And I want us to race on Friday. I want to race Mod Buggy on Friday. So I'm going to go in tomorrow and just fix those up, drizzle nice dirt over them and tamp them back in. And water the crap out of it. So, and I actually stayed Saturday and watered. Sometimes I don't, because if it runs so late, I just don't want to be there anymore. But I watered a ton of it on Saturday. So we'll see what it's like tomorrow. But we had, overall, I mean, just a phenomenal turnout again. We had Jared Tebow come. So that's always a big deal when he's there. Mason Fuller was there. Jared Wiggins came, so I knew it was still going to be a good race. The Van Dalens weren't able to come. They're actually quarantining up there in Minneapolis. Let's see. A whole bunch of Colorado guys again. Graham Hill and his girlfriend came, and that whole kind of Fort Collins group came out. We had pretty much a good show from everybody. We had a good group still had some Minnesota guys come down. We had Ryan Clemming, those guys from Eastern Iowa, come down. We had a few guys from the Kansas City area come up that I haven't seen in a long time. Patrick Moline is a dude that I hadn't seen since like Blue Groove when that place was open down there. And that we're talking like 15 years, something crazy like that. And and then we had officially this year. So last year we had Mini Truggy as kind of like a, what's that called? When it's not, I didn't have I'm not going to, last year I didn't have a giveaway or anything for it. I don't even think I did plaques for him. Maybe I did. But this year it's for sure an actual class.
Yeah.
Provisional.
It was an exhibition.
Provisional is a provisional class. There we go. That's the word I was going for. And we still had Pro 4. Last year we had 2 heats of Pro 4. This race we only had 7 trucks. We only had 7 trucks. It worries me a little bit, but also we had limited entries, so maybe some of those guys just didn't come in. Again, with the COVID thing, you never know if some guys are even going to race, come race or whatever. So we ended up with a C main in Sportsman Buggy, which is great, and a D main in Expert. And actually, Expert Nitro had more entries than Sportsman, which actually it usually does. And then Sportsman and Expert Electric 8-scale were basically neck and neck as far as entries go, and they were the most entries. There was a C main with them. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was good to smell that nitro again, that sweet smell of nitro. It's kind of like beer. Like if you haven't had a beer in a long time, and then you drink a really cold one, you're like, But then like if you let it sit too long, it gets warm, and then you drink that last couple sips, you're like, ugh, what is this? That's how nitro is with me. Like the first time I smell that nitro smell, I'm like, oh yeah, I missed that. And then like 2 hours later, I'll walk into the pits and go, oh God.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You know?
Yeah, if your beer gets warm, you're not drinking fast enough.
I know. I don't drink it very fast. So it was a pretty good day. We got started with the mains right around 5 o'clock. We moved pretty good. First round always takes a little longer just because of the transponders and all that other stuff, you know. But with the live RC or the lifetime cloud, I was actually able to figure out most of them. There's just a few unknowns I had to fix, and mostly it was during the electric races, so it didn't even take that long. But I know we made a little bit better time in the second race, and then by the time the main come around, you know, I always think we're going to get out of there early, and then I'm like, oh, that's right, most of these mains are 10 minutes, and then most, you know, your expert mains are half hour, and your truggy main is a half hour, and sportsman's 20 minutes. So I always forget about that time thing with the nitro stuff. I think, and that being said, I think next round. So you know how the INS races stagger their single lower main. So like the A main is 8 minutes, the B main is 7 minutes, the C main is 6 minutes, and then everything else is 5 minutes. So I think I'm going to start doing that with the electric gate scale classes. But I think so the mains are 10 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is like I think the B main will be 8 minutes. And the C main down will be like 6 minutes. Something like that. Just cuz I like to blast through the lower mains, but if you have a terrible start at one of those and it's only 5 minutes long, it's pretty tough to come back.
Yeah.
You know, we're 10 minutes, you know. When you were in a 10-minute A main, there was a couple times where I had a terrible start and I came back to get a podium. So Pro 4 A main, Jay Kalahurka's back. I think he's going for either a 3-peat or a 4-peat. I got to look at the poster. So the posters came in today. They were supposed to be there Friday, and they showed up at the Plex today. I got a text.
Yeah.
So I got to look at it. But I think Jay Kalahurka's either won 2 in a row or 3 in a row. So I think he's trying to go for 4 in a row. If the turnouts keep going the way they're doing, this might be the last one for Pro 4, so that'd be kind of cool to win the last one. But Ashley McCormick qualified second, and he walked away in the main. He got around Jay and then drove away. He got a 10-second lead there at the end. And it really was, after the first minute or so, I don't remember it being that close. So Jay Kalahurka finished second, so they tie in points. That's the most important thing. And then Kyle, and so the last name, I never even asked him how to pronounce it, was Quast, and I think it's Cast. I think that's how you pronounce it. Otherwise, it would be Quest or Quast. I think it's Cast, though. Kyle Cast. And it was his first time at the Plex. He picked up a podium here in Pro 4. Easton McCormick finished 4th. Nick Schultz was 5th. Nick Poppenfuss was 6th. Steve Wall was 7th. And Lynn Nilsson, I believe it's his first time at the Plex, finished 8th. And what's really cool is I did post the Expert Buggy A-Main Nitro and the Expert Electric Buggy A-Main on YouTube. But you can get on Live RC, and they've got this new, they finally figured out a way to, so YouTube's been holding up all their videos, and I read this thing and they finally said, screw it, we're going to do our own. So they have a Rave Video Archive is what it's called, and you can sample it right now and watch your races for free. But you can, eventually they'll be restricted. You have to pay for it. You have to be a bonus lap member.
Really?
Which most RC people are bonus lap members, so they can get the perks at the big races.
What are the perks?
Well, like some races, you only get the moving camera if you're a bonus lap member.
Oh,
So
okay.
like in the past, like if Proline or somebody has sponsored like the DNC, for instance, they've given Live RC enough money to make the moving cameras open to everybody, then they'll do it.
Yeah.
But on some races, they don't have that. So if you're a bonus lot member, you get the moving cameras, and if you're just on there for free, you just get the static camera.
Yeah.
That's usually how they do it. So Sportsman Nitro, this was a good race basically from second on down. Lucas Baker was your TQ, and his car looked really good, and he put 2 laps on everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, really good. Parker Clemmy came from the 5th spot to get second, and he's one of those guys driving one of those Gammas, and his car looked really good, and he was super smooth. He held off Philip Hoke, who qualified 4th, finished 3rd. Bill Nichols is a previous champ, I think the 2019 champ, finished 4th. John Davies had a rough start and couldn't really recover from that, and finished 5th. Daryl Wallen was 6th. Scott Sroof was 7th. It's been a while since I've seen Scott here. Eric Dillon was 8th. Mark Dunn was 9th. And Tim Crystal, poor guy, like blew his knee out just walking. Like nothing really even happened apparently. Like I think he was out marshalling in the morning after his practice, and he just stepped wrong and blew his knee out.
What?
Yeah.
God, that's awful.
So he qualified 3rd. He stayed and qualified, but then he said he just couldn't stand it. He couldn't be on the stand for that long. I was getting ready to like set up a chair up there on the handicapped area.
Yeah, that'd been cool.
But he was like, I've never driven sitting down. I don't think I could do that. I'm just going to go home. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. I felt really bad.
I at least tried it.
Yeah. I can see
I
what
don't know.
you're saying,
Maybe he was
though.
just in a lot of pain,
Dude,
too.
so last Tuesday, I had to go home. Like, my back hurt so much that I left. I was supposed to do crawling night, and I could barely stand up. So, I mean, I sometimes you just got to say, screw it, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So, Expert, Nitro Buggy, this was the big one. You know what I like to do at the Techno Series? And so, I found a formula of setting the mains up that works really well to make sure we always have corner marshals for what I consider to be probably the most important race of the day, which is Expert Nitro Buggy. I mean, every race is important to whoever's in it, but from a prestige point of view, overall, like
it's your main event.
Yeah. So I get it done early. We get it done early. I started doing this maybe 4 years ago, and when we split it between Sportsman and Expert. Like before we had Sportsman and Expert, I would use the Truggy race. Well, then you had guys running back to back in Truggy. So then I would try to use like Pro 4 to be the marshals, but then those guys always got pissed off because they only race for 8 minutes and they have to marshal a half-hour main.
Yeah.
So the way we have it now is your Sportsman goes before your Expert, and there's never anybody in Sportsman that's also an Expert, even though, I mean, technically it could happen, but it hasn't yet. And so we always have corner marshals, which is one of the most important things at these things for me. And then we get it done right away. So it's like a sigh of relief comes over me when I'm able to hit that finish button on the computer and know that, nothing crazy happened during the race.
Right.
So this one was crazy. So I have it on YouTube. I stood there calling the race, holding my phone and videoing the whole thing.
Oh, you did that?
A half hour. I
watched it.
I videoed for a half hour using my hand with this. Like, that's how strong my hand is from years of practice. But I did that, and it was great. This was like one of the best nitro races, close races I think we've ever had. Jared looked like he was going to drive away, and then one mistake, and Mason was up on him, and then they stayed that way for a majority of the race until the very, very, very end, 2 laps from the finish. So Jared Tebow was your TQ, but he was under all sorts of pressure from Mason. both of them made little itty bitty mistakes here and there that kept the race close. And Mason just, it looked like Jared sort of missed the sweet spot jumping onto the oval. He was a little bit too far to the inside, had to hit the brakes real quick to make sure he didn't crash. And Mason had gunned it, launched his car as far as Jared did, and just hit the back of him and ended up crashing. And then that was it. He had a 3.5 second lead with 2 laps left to go after that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what a show. I mean, the pit stops were very close. I think Jared had the advantage pit stop wise. But they were really trying. I mean, there was one pit stop, I think, where Mason finally did, I think it was the last one, where he actually was faster by 0.3 of a second on the pit lap.
Yeah.
And then you had Jared Wiggins just hanging around back there in third place. He had the pace, as far as fast lap goes, but stringing them together, he every once in a while, there'd be a little hesitation or whatever, and you could kind of see the separation. But as I was calling this race, I could see Jared just kind of lingering back there 5 to 6, seconds back the whole time. And at the end, he was only 1.2 off of Mason.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zach Gastelum, one of the dudes from Colorado, finished 4th. And then Ashton Abdul finished 5th. He got a top 5. So brand new X-Ray ride for him, and he gets a 5th.
Really?
Yep, he did really good. Graham Hill was 6th. Jeremy Whiting makes another main, finishes 7th. Chris Morant, who's always a hard worker in real life and still wants to race, so sometimes he just stays up and doesn't sleep. Well, he finished 8th. Greg Baumel was 9th, and Mitchell Pavel was 10th. And Mitchell was pretty fast. He bumped up, and he had a fast car, but I think his car broke 29.
Oh, didn't he have a shot come off or something?
I think it was a drive shaft broke, is what he said. So, I think this car was as Mugen still, which last year Emerson broke a drive shaft too. Same thing.
Huh.
I can see it.
What
happening.
What happened? Did something happen to Derek in qualifying?
I
was surprised not to see him in the main.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything happened to Derek in qualifying. He just I can't even remember the last time he raced indoors. So I think it was just a matter of finding.
True.
I think it was just a matter of him finding some pace. He had good laps,
Yeah.
In fact, where's the B main of Expert? Does it sit right here? Race 8, Expert B main. I mean, he finished 5th in the B. So
yeah,
it's not like he, wasn't competitive at all.
Right. No, I know. When I saw the main lineup, I thought for sure he'd be in the main, but I didn't know. I mean, Nitro Fun Suck does happen.
Yeah, so. It does happen. I think he did okay. I don't think his car ever quit or anything like that. I think it's just finding some pace is all.
Right.
If he races again, because this was a test for him, because the reason why he stopped racing Nitro is because he felt like crap for 3 days afterwards, something with his skin and the Nitro, fumes that linger.
Yeah, he said when he took a shower, it hurt his skin.
Yeah. So we'll see if he races again. It'd be cool if he does, but if he doesn't, I get it. I understand.
Sure.
But I see him making a main or 2 or 3 or all the rest of them. We'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
So mini truggy. So we had 18 mini truggies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of mini truggies.
Yeah. Dane Gangler TQ'd, and then he went home.
What?
He said he TQ'd. I think he TQ'd. I think he TQ'd Sportsman Buggy as well, and then he raced Expert Buggy, and I think he was in the B main, but he bailed, and it's had something to do with him moving or something like that, and he had too much work to do, so he didn't stick around. That's what he said.
What?
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It caught me off guard, but I'm just glad he wasn't sick or anything, because round one last year he had the flu and went home early because he was sick from the flu, and then turns out everybody that was pitting around him got the flu. That would have sucked if it was If it was, I ended up having COVID, and everybody that was sitting around me ended up with COVID. Like that would have been a horrible thing but that's not what happened.
Yeah. No. Still, I mean, that would have been pretty bad.
So mini truggy, I qualified second with my brand new truck.
Mm-hmm.
Crashed a lot in qualifying, but kind of found just the pace, the patience more than anything. That truck, for me, the truck's a little stiff, and I need to work on it. So I'm excited to race this Friday to get it out and run it because I want to race it again. But it's a little stiff. It needs a little bit of setup work. But that being said, I just went out there, kept that truck in the black, made sure I didn't do anything stupid, and ended up walking away from it. I crashed early and almost let Don Drews get around me, actually. But once I kind of got my head back into it and kept the truck where it needed to be, I just put down the laps. I kind of outlapped everybody, basically. Strung together a bunch of good ones.
What motor did you run in it?
5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Silver ellipses, they were a little soft. I kind of wish I had golds, but
did they go to slicks?
No, they got chewed up pretty quick though.
Mm-hmm.
The truck was a little grabby. It was stiff and grabby. So, a couple things I want to work on. James Ham qualified 5th, finished 2nd. He was the only one running a stadium truck body. And Don Drews qualified 4th, finished 3rd. Ashley McCormick crashed a lot early, ended up finishing 4th. Bryson Pavel was 5th. Bryson was actually on my butt early too. Then I got away from him. Kyle Cast was 6th. Dylan Hartshorn was 7th. Ben Ford was 8th. Jason Morey was 9th. And Gangler didn't start, so he finished 10th. So I didn't TQ, but the win was nice because that's always good to start the season out with one of those, especially if you're going to be points racing the whole time.
Yeah, I still just can't believe Dane left early.
Yeah, I don't know. So Nitro Truggy, and this one's cool. Somebody on the chat had mentioned nothing from Techno. Well, Jared Wiggins finished 3 laps ahead of everybody here in Truggy with the brand new Truggy from Techno. So I'm sure it'll be called a 2.0, just like the buggies are. If you haven't seen, you got to go on Facebook, go to the Techno Winter Series. So on the search, just put Techno HobbyPlex. It usually comes up. If you haven't yet, hit that, subscribe to it, or like it, whatever you want to do. Look at the podium picture from Jared Wiggins. In fact, maybe I'll bring it up. I'll see if I can bring it up. Oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. Because the Truggy body is going to blow your mind. Have you seen it?
I think so.
It is insane. Let me see if I can bring it up. View post on Facebook. Where's he at? Okay, here it is. All right, let me see if I can get it bigger, and I'll put it up to the camera. Oh, that's as big as I can get it? Okay, I don't even know. I keep trying to figure out how to describe this Truggy body, and I can't even really describe it. So let's see if I can see if that'll focus in. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did see that thing.
Look at that thing. It's not focused, but whatever.
Yeah, I can make it out.
It's very boxy. Like it's but okay. The body, put the body aside for a second. The truck looks freaking amazing. Like this thing never landed awkwardly, had buttloads of steering, jumped super amazing. I mean, it was crazy how good it was. It looked phenomenal. He could do no wrong with this thing. He was launching it onto the dirt oval as far as he could, and it would just go plop, land, and go. I mean, it was nuts. The body's very square. Now, Techno's bodies always kind of make you do a double take, don't they?
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, there's a purpose behind the body. It's obviously for like downforce and stuff. Because remember when they were putting like that Chevy C10 body on those Technos from
Yeah,
Proline?
that's what that looks like.
And it actually, like Seth said, it actually handled better than the stock body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe that's what they're going for here. You got that very hard, front nose. And, Chris Morant and I were talking afterwards. We all hated those cab forward bodies when they first came out. And then it kind of grew on
The look of them?
Oh, yeah. I hated them. They were disgusting.
Oh, I thought they were always cool.
Whatever. I hated them. I thought
I
they were
liked them.
I thought they were a joke. And then then the next thing you know, everybody's running them. So then it became normal. I don't know. Maybe this will become normal. Who knows?
Yeah.
So there's that. So it's not out yet. I didn't even ask him when it will be out, but he's got one and he raced it at the Plex. They weren't doing anything to hide it, so that's why we can talk about it here. He obviously had it for the podium picture. He wasn't too worried about it. So, and I think they ran it at AMS the previous week. So,
yeah.
So that will be, something new from Techno. That will be shortly. So I'm kind of butthurt because I got a NT 48.3 sitting up at the shelf at the Plex right now that I actually ordered for Emerson and me, and then they're gonna have it.
Yeah.
So, so Jared Wiggins 74 laps. Greg Baumel. I hope I get his last name. It's Baumel or Baumel. I think it's Baumel. These guys come from Wisconsin. This is their second full year here, I think. Finished second with 71 laps. Chris Morant from the Kansas City area finished third. Jeremy Whiting, the other guy from Wisconsin, finished fourth. Robert Rinaldi, which I think is a Colorado guy. I might be wrong on that. Finished fifth. Bill Nichols was sixth. Chris Stapes was seventh. Don Drews was eighth. And Patrick Mitrovic was ninth. And Braden Billington, which I know is his first time here at the Plex. I believe he's from the Illinois, Western Illinois area, finished 10th. And he broke his truck. I was kind of bummed out when he broke his truck because I wanted him to do well. Anytime it's somebody's first day there. Okay, we've got two more, and then we'll take a break for a pivot, and then we'll talk about these questions that came up. So Sportsman Electric Buggy. Our dude, Jackson Anderson, won this thing.
Yeah.
Philip Hoke was right there behind him. They finished 1.2 seconds apart at the end, but it was even closer than that. Philip was actually leading. Jackson had a pretty good lead at the start. He led the first lap, and then he crashed and ended up coming back across the line in sixth, and then basically just worked his way back up from there. And then him and Philip had a really good race at the end. I rewatched this on the Live RC stream, the whole thing, and it was just one of those things where looks like Philip was kind of out cruising. He made a couple of mistakes there at the end that allowed Jackson to get a little bit closer to him, and it was a pretty good battle. The Sportsman's supposed to be. Bryson Powell finished third. Troy Jackson was fourth. Derek Myrtle was fifth. Parker Clemmy was sixth. Josh Shout was seventh. Don Drews eighth. Kyle Cast was ninth. And Dane Gangler again was your TQ and didn't start. Jackson said this was his first win at a series.
Yeah.
So
it was, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And his speed controller didn't work in practice on Friday. So I hooked him up with my trusty old Orion. R8 or whatever that I had.
Okay.
So, and I was afraid that it wasn't going to work, and then it did work. So I was pretty stoked. So, Peter Renault just gave us a $3 fist bump sticker on Super Chat.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, and then finally, your expert e-buggy. And this was the last race of the day, and after the way that the Nitro race went, you kind of thought, okay, we're going to have a rematch. And that was not the case. Jared Tebow took off, never to be seen again with his e-buggy. Mason crashed like 2 laps in a row in the same spot, and at one point I think was like in 7th place. Ashton was up there in second for a while. And then Zach Gastelum got around him and was running in second. Then he broke a wheel towards the end, so Ashton got back up to second. By that time, Mason had worked his way back up to third and hunted him down with a couple laps to go and ended up passing him. Actually made a really nice clean pass, too, off the triple. And Ashton still got third. So it was Jared, Tebow, Mason Fuller, Ashton Abdul got a podium. His first time running e-buggy with his new X-Ray sponsorship, so that's pretty awesome for him. Graham Hill was in the mix there, a Mugen driver again from Colorado. Mitchell Pavel was fifth. Conrad, his last name, he tells me every single time, and I forget every single time. Conrad Bizey. I think it's Bizey, like a Z sound. Every time. I guaranteed December 5th, I'm going to be like, dude, say your last name again for me. And then I'm going to forget it that night. Anyways, he did really good, finished sixth. Easton McCormick finished seventh. Roman Gastelum was eighth. Eric Fletcher was ninth. And Zach Gastelum was 10th, but he was in second before his wheel broke. So Christy's on here on the chat. Christy Helms. So, so I took a video of practice. And I wanted to test a theory. So one of the theories on YouTube is that if you put a hot girl as your thumbnail, you'll get more clicks on that video. And so I was gonna put just a lame picture of like Jared Tebow's car as the thumbnail, and then Christy was walking by, and I'm like, Christy, hey, I got a great idea. And so I took her photo and I put it on the thumbnail, and the video's gotten like 70% more hits than normal.
Nice. Way to work the system.
Woohoo! So, whatever. So there you go. That's Techno Series Round 1. Again, we had limited entries, 156 entries. I think if it wasn't for the COVID thing and us being at 25% where we could have more people in, looking at last year's turnouts, we hovered around 100 people every time. With the way COVID is, I don't know if we would have gotten that number this time around, but we probably would have had more than that because I did have to turn a few people away. So
yeah.
So with that, we're gonna take a moment. We're gonna segue into we got a whole bunch of questions on the YouTube chat, which is great. For a minute, let's hear from our sponsor, Pivot Lending Group.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Yeah.
This is a Pivot Lending Update with David Olson and Don Zoller. Get some.
This is Don Zoller with Pivot Lending. As a Marine Corps veteran, I have a special place in my heart to help other veterans realize their dreams of becoming homeowners and also getting themselves into better positions financially by refinancing their home. I am also a certified VA specialist. I've taken some specialized training. I've been doing VA loans for 17 years. So I've seen a little bit of everything and know how to get around different obstacles when it comes to the VA loans. Rates are amazing right now on VAs. On 30-year and on 15-year, you are looking in the twos. So they're running about 2.625, 2.75 on a VA loan right now. And in 17 years, I've never seen them this low. If you're interested in getting qualified for a VA loan, or you want to look at refinancing your current VA loan or refinancing your current loan into a VA loan, if you're a veteran, give me a call, 402-715-9082.
David Olson, NMLS 16099. Don Zoller, NMLS 277589. Pivot Lending, NMLS 109995.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
All right, so I'm going to go back up here and scroll. And I did actually put out a thing on Facebook today saying that we were going to be on. I always try to remind people. Last week, I think I forgot. So, but you want to look at some of these questions we got?
Sure.
All right. Johnny S. says, hey, guys, does the B6.2 use the J Concepts D and C block on the rear end?
You can put the J Concepts D and C block on the rear end of that car. Actually, let me grab my carpet car. I have one on it.
Yeah, because the .1 and .2 share the same C and D blocks. They're not different, right?
Yeah, no, they're the same.
Okay.
Well,
He's grabbing his carpet car.
yeah, this is my 6.2, and I have the. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
I
Those are
have the C&D blocks on this car.
the cool black ones.
Yeah. I did have to shim them a little tighter. Like I got the associated hinge pin shims for it because I had to add like an extra thin shim
Yeah.
to it to tighten up the rear arm. But other than that, that was the only thing I did. And I think they do that so you can have a little bit more adjustment if you want it.
Right. Because you can.
So.
I saw something on. I watched Spencer Rivkin's thing about the Beach RC race, and you can actually shim your arms forward or backwards, right?
Yeah, on the 6.2.
Like the shim is normally in the back, but it looked like he put it in the front to get more because of the high grip. He like made his wheelbase slightly longer.
Yeah, right. And yeah, and so the regular like kit, it has like 2 millimeter shim.
Right.
I added an extra like 0.05 or 0.5.
Nice.
And that's just like the extra thin shim.
That's just because the tolerances are just slightly different.
Yeah, right. So just to shim it up a little tighter. But I mean, like I have them on this car, and I've been running them, and they're fine. But yeah, it just adds a little bit more adjustment, I think.
Yeah. That's a good watch too, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Spencer Rivkin's. I think it was I don't know if it was a live stream or if it was just a video about his Masters of Dirt setup. You know, I'm guilty of not watching a lot of those. Like I should be watching the Adam Drake videos all the time and everything, and I really haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself getting lost in YouTube when I'm working on my RC stuff. Like I'll switch over to like, you know, I watch a lot of airplane documentaries for some reason, and then I'll get lost. It'll move that to like airplane crashes, and then I'll just get mesmerized. And then like 2 hours later, I'll look down and I'll realize I haven't done a thing to my car.
Yeah, I'm the worst. Like Saturday mornings when I wake up,
Yeah,
I'll like start scrolling through Facebook and watching one video, and like how it just does the automatic video again, like for the next one. I'll be there for like an hour watching like videos of stuff I don't even care about.
You come back and you're like, oh dang it. Wasn't there a South Park? There was a South Park show that dealt with that, wasn't it? Wasn't it one? It was the one with ads. And they kept on, they were like trying to figure out something, and then ads would pop up, and they go, oh, look at that, and they'd click on that, and then the next thing you know, they're at the restaurant eating ice cream, and they're like, what were we doing? And then it was like they got lost in it or whatever. Anyways, okay.
I never saw that one.
Yeah,
it sounds funny.
It is funny. Mad Thunder 2 is on here. He might still be on here. Wants to know how we're doing. I don't know. I'm doing fine.
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for asking. Joel Florkey wants to know, do you guys recommend for a beginner in RC to go to a national race?
Like a Roarnats?
This is a tough one.
Well, if you're a beginner, so if you're new, I would make like, let's say like this is your first year racing. You aren't really driving for, 5 minutes without crashing. Maybe you're running like short course or like a slash or something like that. I would look and see if the race you're going to has a novice class. If you're racing in a novice class at home, then race that class at home. But or that you race at home. But like if you're running stock buggy and you're kind of mixing it up, but this is your first year, I mean, by all means, go race. Yeah. I think. I mean, if you feel comfortable at home with how you're finishing and you're doing well and you're enjoying it, of course, go to another track and try that out.
Traveling's great. I traveled a lot when I was in my late teens and early 20s, and my 30s. Well, and my 40s. But I traveled a lot more when I was a lot younger, and even when I did crappy, which was, unfortunately, 70% of the time. Like, the experience that I gained from that period of my life, as I got older, I actually think I got better as I was older because all those experiences I was able to use that knowledge and get better later on. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I always feel like you go to big races for your first like 5 years just to learn something.
Yeah. Now,
you know?
That being said, I will say that as a former Roar region director and competition director, okay, I was on the Roar executive committee for a couple of years, and I've been a Roar region director in the past. If you're one of those guys that gets all of your electronics off of Amazon and wants to go to a national race, and you go to a Roar race where they have rules on what you can use and they have approvals that they have to get done, and you go to one of these things without any sort of Roar approved anything, batteries, motors, speed controllers, it can be a very, very, very frustrating experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
does that happen?
It does. And it happens, unfortunately, quite a bit. And it usually is the local guys that wanted to enter the Roar race because it was at their track, but they weren't prepared for the process that it takes, especially at the nationals, of tech, of getting through tech.
Yeah.
And that was the part. That was the part that was most contentious. Usually, when I was going to these things, were the guys that weren't aware of how stringent tech really is at these Roar national events, and a lot of them, would just leave. They'd be mad, and it's not the Roar guys' fault. It's just that they were uninformed.
Right.
Or a lot of these China battery companies would put Roar approved stickers on their batteries, but never actually they had never been Roar approved.
Oh, really?
That happens a lot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that happened a lot. So, I think it depends on what kind of national race we're talking about. I think the Roar Nats are pretty freaking awesome to go to, because you get to see where you stack up to all the national traveling type drivers, But I would say something like a Masters of Dirt race, which with 330 entries felt like a national event. Well, they had a novice class, so you could do that, but they had stock and they had mod, but they also had short course, and they had mini truggy. There's some stuff that would be good classes to enter those things. That's not so stressful, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and then you got your races like our race, like the HobbyPlex, ProTech, the ProTech Spring Off-Road Championships. That'll be this April. That one, I mean, that's going to fill up. That's going to be a big race. It ain't going to feel like it. It's going to feel like a big club race. That'd be a good one to go to.
Yeah.
Or even the J Concepts INS races, because they have the independent class, which is really good. And at our race in February, as long as the COVID restrictions don't screw it up, we are going to have Plex spec, so that'll be good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me get on here. We already answered that one. We kind of already answered that one. Brady Papanow wants to know, how do you keep paint from flaking off, or is there ways to protect bodies for racing?
Huh.
I don't really know.
That problem.
Yeah, I've never heard. So the only time I've ever heard of paint flaking off is if you're using the wrong paint. So
yeah, or like it depends on your body. Like if you don't clean it,
right?
But see, like I used to never clean my bodies before I painted them.
Yeah, me neither.
And I never had an issue.
But so on the carpet, you see a lot of flaking because guys are using the wrong paint to get the colors they want. And then they hit the wall. They hit the wall, and their paint goes.
Yeah, I did have that happen one time on a body that I painted with chrome paint. It was like
chrome
Spastics
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Spastics chrome.
Yeah.
and I like bumped a board like one time, and like all of the like it was like literally like a negative of my body, like that came out.
Chrome
out of
paint
the
is
body.
known for doing that, though. Chrome paint is always known for doing that. But basically, you should back everything that you do with usually a backing white of some sort, or black, I guess. But usually the flaking comes from either not cleaning your body, so there's like your finger oil on the body itself, and the paint can't stick to it, or you're using the wrong paint. So you got to make sure that you're
like
using
Kenny
paint.
backs my bodies with white.
Yep. But you can also put. I've seen people put tape in there,
like that aluminum tape stuff.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with that too, because if that peels off at all, it'll take the paint with it.
Yeah.
So, another one from Johnny S. Here as I scroll down, we got a few more to go through. Is the MT44 too advanced for a beginner? What Sanwa is good for an entry level? Well, I mean, I have an MT44 and I love it. And it's just like getting a new phone. You just got to learn the operating system, and then it's fine. That being said, the MTS is a good option too.
Yeah, I think the MT44 would be like the perfect beginner radio, because you'll have it for a while. Like, you're not going to outgrow it very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love my MT44. I just couldn't afford an Well, no, the M17 wasn't out when I wanted to get a radio, and it was going to be too expensive, so I got the MT44 instead. But the MTS would be a good option too, and I think we have them at the Plex, and I think they're $199 or something like that. It's not a lot of money for a good radio. I just like the way the MT44 feels. Like I like to have like a drop down wheel effect. I like to have my hands real close together, and the MTS has it farther apart. It's like an old Spectrum radio where their wheels way up here and your fingers are way down here. I don't like that. I like having my hands real close together. Do you recommend a 4-wheel drive buggy for a beginner?
13.5 4-wheel, probably.
Definitely.
And I mean, if you've had like other RC cars and you kind of know the lay of the land and how to set one up, and or like how to put your electronics in and everything, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad beginner class vehicle, just because it's 4-wheel drive and it's a buggy.
Well, especially the three cars that are out, the main three cars that are out today. If you categorize the Techno, the Losi, and the Associated together, they're super tough too.
Yeah,
you don't see them broken.
I think so. I think they're pretty durable. Driving 4-wheel drive is not like the way it used to be.
Especially a Techno.
Like the cars are like made out of glass.
Yeah, a Techno is like a tank. That thing, you have to do something extremely stupid to break a Techno.
Yeah.
We talked about that one. Mad Thunder backed it up with he was thinking about getting rid of a 2-wheel drive buggy because it's difficult to drive and he only goes to track occasionally, so he doesn't get that much practice to master it. I think 4-wheel drives, again, if any of the major 3 cars you'd be good with, because they're tough, and if you put a 13.5 in it, they're very manageable to drive and still being fast and fun. And then you can put a mod in it eventually and go really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will, you're gonna have to answer this one because I don't remember. Nicholas Pietrzak wants to know the difference between the B61, B62. It's mainly the rear end, right?
The entire rear end is updated. So at one time, with that car, like with the 6.1, we were putting the rear arms off of the B74 on it and running those rear hubs, if I remember right. And the new rear hubs that are on the new car, along with the new arms, are just like a more durable and updated, made for that car. It just made overall, like the car, the 6.2 is just smoother, like, and I think it's easier to drive than the 6.1. It's mainly just the rear end that's updated.
It's definitely,
so like the arms.
Definitely easier to drive. Definitely easier to drive than a B.1. And a B6.1 is easy to drive too, but the B62 is even easier to drive. I mean, I'm running box stock setup in my car basically.
Yeah, and like it's just what I remember. It's just like it it's smoother grip. Like the car's just overall smoother.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to put it where you want it. You can actually run it a little bit freer, like a freer setup, and it's still manageable to drive. And then they updated, the rear arms for tuning. Like you can put the 75 millimeter arms on it if you wanted, with the 69 millimeter rear drive shafts, and tune it a little, get it locked in or dialed in a little easier. But the stock setup on that car is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I never even changed it. I just keep driving it. Peter Renault's on here. He said, "Did you just say boop at the start of the Nitro race?" And then he said it looked way too smoky on the Nitro video I watched. Okay, so I did say boop, but here's the reason why. I know I've had people who run Lifetime go, you don't have to do that, and I understand that I don't have to do it, but I want to make sure that the drivers hear the start of the race. That's what I want. So instead of relying on the computer beep, beep to start, because it's a Nitro race and sometimes they can't hear it as well, I want to make sure that everybody can hear it. And the sound system in the Plex is very loud, and so what I'll do is I'll have the computer, I'll have my Control S ready to go, and I go boop, and I say it really loud in the mic so that everybody can hear it, so that everybody goes, and then right after that I'll hit Control S to make sure that the race actually starts. Only one time in the last 4 years have I forgotten to actually start the race, and I figured it out about 4 minutes in, and I felt like a super duper idiot. But that's why I do it at the Plex. I did it. I started doing it when Kevin Myers brought me in to run State Line. I actually did it there too, and then I had what's his name from Trackside be like, you don't have to do that, and I'm like, I know, but it's habit. It's what I do. So
yeah.
All right, we're almost done with questions here, and then we can get out of here because this is running kind of long. Macklin ESC ? Good. I assume it is because Jared Tebow runs it, but I've never actually ran it personally. I wanted to, and last year I applied for sponsorship, but I never got an email back answering any of my questions. So I just said, well, okay, never mind. And I just kept running my Hobby Wing stuff. So, but I assume it is because if Jared Tebow doesn't like it, he ain't going to run it, even if they pay him. So he'll find somebody else to pay him. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, I've never used one.
We're almost done. Mini Truggy or the new AE Stadium Truck 2-wheel drive has to be worlds different. Yeah, 2 totally different trucks. Just do with whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Mini Truggy is pretty freaking awesome, so I liked it.
2 entirely different classes.
But I've been running 13.5 on the carpet, and I like that too, so who knows. And then, all right, this will be the last one. No, we pretty much already answered that in that one too. So that's pretty much it. Christy Helm says you always have to boop. That's true. You always have to boop. So, all right. Well, that wraps up a pretty good show. I think we got everything in that we wanted to. We're running a little long, but that's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, it's all right. Whatever. Yeah.
It'll get edited down a little bit. So
yeah, we'll get it in editing.
I don't think ProTech makes an ESC yet, Johnny. Pretty sure they don't. Stick with I personally use Hobby Wing. Will uses Reedy. Macklin's good. Orion's good. Just whatever you can afford and whatever you have support for is probably the most important thing. So.
Yeah, I think I've used quite a few speed controls, but I've been on the Reedy stuff for so long.
Yeah.
Like
Same
since
here.
the new stuff has come out, I haven't used anything different.
Yep.
But they always work.
Yep.
I always think that I think that the tuning options they have are really good, and the programming card's easy to use. You can buy the one with the programming card or without the programming card. So if you need 2, you can get one with and one without.
Oh yeah.
But I've always thought they were actually like very adjustable and very smooth.
All right. Well, guys, don't forget about our big time sponsor here. As always, this is how we're able to come to you weekly ever since. Oh, there goes our light. Ever since last January, this show's been sponsored by Pivot Lending Group. You can find them at pivotlendinggroup.com. Give them a call if you're looking for a home loan or refinance. Ask for Don Zoller, or we always think it's funny to ask for Aiden Olson's dad.
Yeah.
And then if you get a home loan or a refinance, something along their lines, anything that they offer there when it comes to home loans and stuff, $500 lender credit towards your closing costs or 0.125 off of your rate. And yeah, that's we've had some takers. I know that for sure. And I don't know, who knows? Maybe one day Gretchen and I will look for a house somewhere out in the boonies and we'll use them up. So
yeah.
So there you go. We're gonna bail. Good show. I kind of liked the super chat. It's kind of fun, something different, and appreciate you guys that chimed in and gave us money.
How much money did we make?
$6.
All right, I want my $3.
I know. I'm gonna have to give it to you on Saturday. So all right, we're gonna go. Bye.
All right, see you guys.
Now I gotta reach over here and get that. All right, we're leaving for real this